Hi, Shira7. I'm back with Diaries of a Former Mortician, Vlog 8. Okay, I'm just gonna jump right into this one. Okay, so at one of the funeral homes I worked at, I come back from Christmas vacation, or actually it was the day after Christmas, because we don't get a vacation, because people don't take vacations and die. Okay, so there's no vacation. You just come home from work, have your Christmas, and then you go back the next day. Okay. And you work every weekend. Okay. Unless you request off special in advance. Okay, anyway. So I come back from Christmas and there's a family of 4 in the embalming room. They were massacred in a quadruple homicide on Christmas Day. They were all shot in the back of the head, tied up. So I'm either thinking it's robbers or a gang related incident. I don't know. They were a Hispanic family. Yes. And there was a little girl, a teenage son, and the parents. And since, I don't know if there was anybody there to claim them as family members or whatnot, or if they were, they donated all of their organs and bones and whatnot. So when I get there and I uncover the bodies, they're all like bags of skin because all of their bones have been donated, and their organs. So they have any organs or any bones. It's just like they left the skull for cosmetic purposes and the hands. So, and the feet. Everything else, like the femur and the tibula and the arms, the ulnas, they were all taken. Okay, so I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? They hand me a bag of PC pipes made out of white plastic, and they're like, well, substitute these as the bones. And I'm like, okay. So I put the first of all, when you have bones donated, they like slice your arm open, like right here, like right down vertically, and it's like open like this, and the bone is removed, right? And that's how it is on the legs and the thighs as well. So you have all these long cuts. And so after I put all the pipes in and fit them, correctly, because you have to like make sure they fit in with the height of the person. If not, you have to like saw them off. A lot of work. Okay. So now it was time to sew up the body or suture up the body. And they have these long slits all the way down their body. So that's obviously going to take forever. So it took me about 4.5 hours to sew up, their body. Just one person. And good thing I used to cross stitch when I was a kid, because I got really good at it. Now it came in handy. It came in handy then. But yeah, so it's just crazy. It was surreal how that looked. I mean, have you ever seen a body with no bones? It just looks like a bag of meat. It's crazy. Anyway, so one of the other funeral directors, the morticians, they had finished their job early because they were very experienced and skilled, and they came over to help me. It was a guy, and he was like a little older gentleman, and of course, while we're sitting there working on the body, he starts to come on to me and sexually harass me and da 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 da, and ask me out, and I'm like, I don't date people I work with, which wasn't true. I just did not want to date him. And also his boss was a lady, and she was a lesbian. And I have nothing against lesbians or gay people, but I'm just not a lesbian. And she always asked me out to lunch and to go to church with her and to, go shopping with her and do stuff like that. And I was like, I had a boyfriend at the time, so I was like, no, I can't, I'm busy, da 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 da. So she kind of took offense to that. And she was over like the whole embalming program. And she refused to sponsor me as an intern because she says I wasn't a good fit there. And I'm like, okay, I understand. You couldn't have it your way because it's not Burger King up in here. Okay. Anyway, so I left that funeral home, of course, because I couldn't get anything accomplished there with all the sexual harassment. And it wasn't a corporate owned funeral home, because in a corporate owned funeral home, I could have filed for sexual harassment. And who's gonna back me up? Anyway, so My next story is about a, let me see, I wrote it down. Okay. Oh, okay. Um, okay, so in another funeral home that I work at, the very first funeral home I worked at, it was like in a bad neighborhood, and lots of homeless people were in that neighborhood. And every day, every morning, one of the workers would go out to, check the hearses and the limo and whatever, and there would always be a homeless person sleeping in the back of the hearse. And it's not the most sanitary place, first of all. And then they were also sleeping in the back of the limo, and people could not figure out how they kept getting in there and how they got in there if the doors were supposedly locked. And what was happening was one of the workers felt sorry for the homeless people, and they were purposely leaving the doors unlocked for them to sleep in. And no one knew who it was, but lo and behold, every day they were in that hearse. So either they had a Slim Jim and knew how to get in cars, or somebody was letting them in. Okay. Anyway, so they started, like, they put an alarm on it, and they were like, we don't want homeless people in our car because they stink up the car. I'm like, you want dead people in it? But you don't want homeless people. That's crazy. Okay, anyway. So that was one of my little stories. Okay, so another story I have. Okay, so there is, I'm just going to come out and straight up tell y'all, if y'all are girls who want to enter the business, there's a lot of sexual harassment in the funeral business if you don't work for a corporate owned funeral home. And there's still some, undercover. So y'all just be careful. And guys, stop harassing these women. Okay? Just let them do their job. They're there to work. Okay? They're not there to find a date unless they ask you. Okay? Anyway, that is the reason that I left the industry, believe it or not. Too much sexual harassment and unfair treatment of women. So I just left. I'm like, I can't do this. The dead people were wonderful, great. I could get along with them perfectly. It was the live people that I had the issue with. So, I do videos on law of attraction as well, and I'm going to tell y'all a funny story. So the last job that I had, the one that just drove me over the edge, I worked for a woman, and this is not the same woman I was telling you about earlier, not the lesbian, but she was a very mean lady. Okay, there were like rumors about her in the funeral industry saying no one ever finishes their internship with her. She's mean, she's rude, she talks crazy to people, nobody wants to work with her, no one stays for over 6 months. So I took a chance. I'm like, well, I'm gonna impress her. I'm gonna do what I need to do. So I did, and we ended up, not getting along at the end because she was crazy. So one day I just decided I was going to quit. But before I quit, I was going to do something bold. So I took a 2-hour lunch break and just went shopping and did whatever I wanted to do. And when I came back, she was like, where have you been? And so I was like, I don't know. I was out driving. I went shopping. I just went, because I was going to quit that day. So I went shopping. I went got my nails done. She was mad. So she was like, well, you're not going to work here anymore. I was like, I know. And so I had a cell phone, and I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, this lady is so rude to me. She's so mean to me. She hurts my feelings all the time. Because I was really upset because she was like bad. My mom called up to the funeral home and cursed the lady out, like really bad. And she was so while I was packing up my desk, the other workers at the funeral home were like, what are you going to do now? Where are you going to go? How are you going to get a job? She's not going to give you a good reference and da, da, da. I was like, I'm not going to work in this industry anymore. I'm done. I'm going to go find me a husband. I'm going to go find me a rich man and get married and never have to work again. Okay. And they were like, oh, that sounds good. I was like, yes, it does, doesn't it? So with all that anger and frustration and all the the things I was feeling at the time and how much I did not want to work in the funeral industry anymore, 2 weeks later I met the guy that I married, and I haven't had to work since. He took care of everything. So law of attraction. So I met him. I was actually going to volunteer to do an embalming with the first funeral home that I worked at because they needed help. And I didn't have anything else to do because I didn't have a job. And plus, the owner had some money, so I was, never mind. I was trying to get in good over there too. So, the night that I met my husband, I was waiting on the owner of the funeral home to get to the funeral home at a bar. And he came up to me and he was like, "What are you doing?" Da, da, da. So we met, and I didn't like him at first, really. But he was so persistent. And, he did have what I actually asked the universe for. So, but lo and behold, 14 years later, we're still together. And I'm here to tell you my story. Okay, well, that was vlog 8 of Diaries of a Former Mortician. And I will be back with vlog 9 very soon. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and comment, rate, subscribe, and watch my other vlog of like my life. Then if you like spiritual videos, I have a playlist called Spiritual Knowledge, and just subscribe. Okay, peace.